Hi everyone. It's been a long time since I've posted anything on this channel, but there's a message that I really want to, that really seeks expression, and I thought this was like the best time for me to, kind of revive my channel just to get this message out. And the point of this isn't even to just, uh, revive the channel, but to kind of express this thing that I'm feeling here and to put it out into the world for anybody that it is meant for. Um, and what we're looking at today is what energy are you entering with the start of the zodiac year? As you all know, like 2025 started in January, but the zodiac year starts with Aries season, which is March 20th onwards. And I feel like this is a time that's going to be quite like a transformative new start for a lot of you, and I really felt called to doing this reading. And it's like a collective reading. There's no like pick a card thing here. I'm just reading for all of you that click on this, and all of you for whom this message is meant. Yes, as you see, I have like a bunch of decks over here, but before that, I want to get into the astro-dice just to see like what energy are you entering with the start of the zodiac year. So we have Saturn, we have the sixth house, and we have Libra. Just gonna put these here for now. With Saturn here, what I'm really seeing is that leading up to this like moment, up to this new zodiac year in 2025, you've really sort of been going through it, and like it could be that you started the year with like a certain intention of things that you wanted to achieve, and maybe you even you were ending 2024 on a great note and you were like, okay, I want to bring fresh energy into 2025. You were in that sort of mindset, but then something sort of happened where again you sort of felt like you were falling back into the same patterns or falling back into the same, just not the best energy. Saturn, like people are quite scared of Saturn when they first see it because they associate Saturn to be the planet that brings them everything bad. The way that I see Saturn is about how it's linked to time, and any dimension in which you experience time will have you understanding the distance between any 2 points of your life or any 2 points of a desire being manifested. So for instance, in a world where time exists all at once, there is no concept of having a desire or of wanting something. But with Saturn, when we are so aware of time, it makes clear to us the distance between us and the things that we want, or us and our manifestations, us and our desires. And I think like leading up to this new zodiac year, you're going to be feeling very much aware of that which you do not have or that which you need to work towards. And I think it sort of put you in like not the best kind of space because you entered 2025 with all these big hopes for what you expected from it, or like what you hoped to accomplish. But then all 2025 did was remind you of that which you do not have. And like suppose you had like certain plans for your career or certain plans for your relationships, and they just sort of fell apart because you began to realize like the work needed to need that work that needs to be put into um achieving what you want to achieve. And like when you finally start out on that journey, it seems so far away. It's so much farther away than you originally expected it to be. And I feel like that's what you've sort of been feeling. But the sixth house is all about health and even service to others. And I feel like because things weren't really like working out like on this front the way that you expected, you were sort of almost forced into this place where you had to like really look after yourself, like almost like like something didn't work out, so all the alarm bells went ringing in your body, and you were like, you had to tend to yourself like some emergency. Like, oh my god, like all the bells are ringing. Like, what am I gonna do now? Like, now I need to sit down with myself and figure out like what's going on. Where am I mentally? Where am I spiritually? Where am I even physically? Like, why do I maybe feel tired or exhausted or all those different things? It could even be that this is sort of making me think of like this connection, especially between the sixth house and Saturn, is making me think of you perhaps having some goals for yourself, like related to your body. Like maybe it could be with a kinetic skill like dancing or something, or it could be even like exercise and working out and going to the gym. And maybe once you think, okay, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to get started, but then day one is fine, day two you lose a little bit of steam, and at the end of the week you're like, why did I even start to do this? I'm seeing no results. And I'm sort of seeing that happening here. Like, you began to stop focusing on the accomplishments and started focusing way more on like the day-to-day pain of getting to that end result. And then we have Libra here, and Libra is such like a balancing energy. It's diplomatic, it even has to do with beauty. And what I'm sort of getting this almost like, how do I say this? Like, I'm gonna give that gym example again. Suppose you started 2025 by saying, I really want to go to the gym regularly from now on. I want to work on my health and my fitness and my strength. And then you start going to the gym and you realize that it's taking so much effort out of you. Maybe you have to shift your schedule. Maybe you're not able to see your friends as much, or things like that are happening, and your body's aching because you're working your muscles out. And then you have this like, why did I even start this? Why did I enter this? And it forced you to sort of take stock of the situation. Like, you're almost like weighing the pros and cons, and you're thinking like, why did I start? It's really like pushing you into this like reflective state where you're really questioning why you have certain goals and why you're moving towards them in a certain way. And I feel like this reflective mode is something you didn't really picture yourself having entering 2025, because you were like, okay, 2025 is going to be my doing year. I'm going to be achieving. And then all of a sudden you're being pushed back into the state of reflecting and having to slow down and having to understand the situation before you can even act. And I think that's sort of like tiring you out, and it's making you feel a little, it's putting you off. It's like, oh, I start with so much steam, and I'm being forced again to just think, to just take a step back. Like, it almost feels like you're feeling held back from participating in your life. So that's the energy that I'm seeing, right? And right now we're going to be at the end of March, entering Aries season, which is like the new zodiac year. It's spring. It's when things are finally like sort of gathering the fiery speed of movement. And I feel like this already is sort of posing like this good start, because it's like right before Aries season we have Pisces season, and Pisces is all about reflection and intuition and emotions. And no matter how much you sort of try to force this like active energy onto Pisces will sort of come through with its gentleness, with its need to pull back and reflect and transcend the physical almost, and just stay in this like floatiness, right? So let's see now, like moving on from this energy, what is Aries season bringing you? I'm going to put these here so you can still see them. To me, also, like, tarot is a very collaborative process. So I like for you to be able to, work with the cards that you see. Like, I'm going to be reading for you, but like, oftentimes you're going to find signs and symbols that are so personal to you, that have and hold meaning for you, and you're going to be able to get so much more out of the reading. So this is a collaborative process between you and me. So I'm going to keep these here so you can keep getting like your insight from them. And we're gonna move on to what is the new zodiac year bringing you. What is the new zodiac year bringing the people watching this reading? Does that want to come out? No. Okay. We have 4th house of home. I'm gonna put that there, and I'm gonna get more cards with these other decks. At least with this one. I'm gonna maybe wait before I think of those. Yeah, so what is the new zodiac year bringing for the people watching this reading? We have Treasure Island. Happy. Also, fun fact, I already filmed this reading and then it just suddenly disappeared off of my, like while I was transferring it from my phone to my laptop to edit it. It just completely disappeared. And at first I was like really bummed about it, but then I was like, I think it's because I need to sort of, there's something that Spirit is telling me to sort of fine tune with my reading. And this card actually came out for that last one as well. So I think that's a sign that we're on the right track. And also Saturn came out as well. And the energy so far have been sort of similar. I think I just need to sort of get the message out better. But yes, we have the 4th house of home. And this number breaks down to a 6, which is what the number we have here as well. That's the 6th house, that's the 4th house. What I'm sort of seeing here is that entering the new zodiac year is gonna, I'm hearing like charity to the self. You know, we've all like heard that saying charity begins at home, and that's what this is kind of making me think of. Even with the 6th house being there, which is about service, this is breaking down to a 6, and then we have the 4th house of home here. I think like you're gonna be really like working on yourself, and like I think that's such a vague thing to say, but like stay with me. But the way that you're gonna be able to like offer service to yourself is in a way that you did not really expect at the start of the year. So at the start of the year, maybe it was that you wanted to take off in your career or take off in a specific area of your life. But then this sort of reflective stance that you were almost forced to enter really made you weigh all your options, and you know, made you think back to even the past, you know, with the home. Like home is not making me think of like your home and just the present, but where you come from. And that, along with like Treasure Island here, is making me think of the past. Like the number 9 is a number of exploration, and it's also about like learning. And I feel like you're almost like going back to the past and bringing back from the past something that you had pushed away for quite some time. The numbers here are feeling very like significant. Like this breaks down to a 6, this is 9, this is an 8. I'm gonna get to that later on, but I feel like with Treasure Island and with home, like you would think of a Treasure Island being like something that is farthest from home, but if you sort of like superimpose those concepts onto each other, right, it's like you're finding a treasure island within your home. You're finding this sort of new thing to put your energy into. You're finding this new treasure trove of knowledge or of forgotten experiences and forgotten knowledge, forgotten memory in your home, in the place where you least expect it, because the home is the place you think you know the best, right? So to have something new come across to you in your own home, to come across in your own past, is unexpected. We often also we tend to move in this forward moving trajectory where we look towards the future. Even things like anxiety and fear have to do with the future and what we're expecting of the future, what we're working towards. And when that happens, we sort of tend to neglect the past. um and I'm not talking here in the sense where you'd sit and have to worry about the past. No, because I know a lot of us tend to do that. I tend to do that a lot. um but it could also be that when you sort of just sit and you have this sort of uncomfortable relationship with the past, where it feels like it's painful to dredge it up, or you have some bad memories, bad experiences back there. And through all those, we sort of forget to remember the parts of us that were actually enjoyable and authentic to us, because we're focusing so heavily on that which brought us pain. And I feel like that's where this treasure island is coming in, because in this place, in this island, in this deserted place, which you typically associate with discomfort and pain, there's treasure, right? There's this chest of jewels that you completely forgot about. So it could be that when you were a child, you were really into art, but then the adults around you didn't really nourish that, didn't encourage it, because they were like, hey, it's not practical. They just told you about the starving artist, all that kind of stuff. And you, as you grew up, you sort of stopped painting, you stopped making art. And then when you look back now, in from the present to the past, you see the lack of nourishment and you see the lack of encouragement, but you forget to see that the art also existed. There was a part of you that really enjoyed making art. And I feel like this is telling you to sort of focus on that part of yourself that you've forgotten, the good parts. We tend to focus really deeply on that which is negative, because could be that we're over analyzing it, we're over intellectualizing it, and we always want to understand the things. And there's so much emphasis on healing your inner child, or healing from the past, healing past wounds. And when we talk about healing, so often it's usually as a response to something painful. But then what about the part that wasn't painful? What about the part that was a blooming flower that lost its access to nourishing soil and water? What about that which was already beautiful? Because healing technically isn't what we need to do. It's more of it's more of discovery. It's more uncovering, exploration. And I'm seeing that you sort of need to help yourself return to a place where you can remember the good stuff, where you can remember what was authentic and natural and powerful about your very existence. Maybe you were really into art, maybe you were into singing, maybe you were even really good at maths, but people in your house were like, oh, maths is just for brainiacs. You're not a brainiac, you're like the rest of us. I don't know, this is very rudimentary examples of stuff, but that kind of thing. What is it that you sort of had to push away? Something that came very naturally to you, something that was very authentic to you. And I think that's why this sort of speed that you wished for at the start of the year, this sort of intention that you put in of wanting to progress even further, the reason it didn't really work out is maybe because it wasn't coming from the most authentic place. Maybe what you were focusing on was putting distance between that which pains you and where you want to be. But it's telling you no, wait, hang on. This, if your only motivation for going forward is to move away from something, is to run away from something, then that isn't authentic. You need to do what is authentic to you. You need to do what you want to do, not because of how it relates to other things, but because it in itself is a worthy thing for you to want to do. Do you get what I'm saying here? So that's where you're sort of being forced into this place of it's balance. Find a balance between what propels you forward in I don't know, practical ways, and also that which you like to do just for fun. Are you sort of ensuring that your life has balance, or no? I hope I'm sort of making sense here. Yeah, and then we also have happy, happy. And also, like, just the way that I sort of placed these is making me, is feeling almost, is the word serendipitous? Like, when it's just coincidental, but not, I don't know. Sometimes words leave me, but it seems fitting. It seems like it was meant to be this way, this placement. And especially with this breaking down to 8, and 8 is like the number of death and transformation. The 8th house is connected to Scorpio. And the fact that this woman is sitting on an egg, it's making me think of this, like, this possibility for transformation, this possibility for happiness that is being born out of something. Like, it's almost like with this treasured island, you're like unearthing this happiness, that you're unearthing this like potential to be happy, this potential to feel fulfilled. And it's like this woman, like, I don't know, just this entire card feels very cheerful. It doesn't feel like it's, it's not like the typical picture you would think of when you think of hard work. And maybe like what you had in mind at the start of the year was something that was more related to working in a certain way and accomplishing in a certain way. But this happiness feels more, it feels more natural, it feels easy, it feels like it doesn't need a reason. Also, yeah, like happiness doesn't need a reason. Sometimes you can just be happy and that's fine. You don't need to always justify your happiness. So if like painting is something that brings you joy, and even if it isn't practical or something, do it because it's fun, do it because it makes you smile, and that's it. That's like a good enough reason to want to do something. It doesn't need to be hard work, it doesn't need to be, it doesn't like thing how do I even say this, it's like you don't need to go through pain for something to be justified. Like not everything needs to be achieved through hard work, not everything needs to be difficult for you to feel worthy. Being happy just in your own existence is worth a lot in itself. I wanna, with these tiny cards, this is the Ceccoli Tarot by Nicoletta Ceccoli, and it's the mini one. It's really tiny and I like it. But yeah, I want to look at like what is a challenge coming your way in this process with the new zodiac year. What is a challenge coming their way? Okay. We have the Six of Swords. So many sixes. Look. This card is so interesting. This entire deck is so interesting. There's this like girl and she's floating in this river of lost things. Oh, wow, okay, perfect. Literally look at that. Like the Ceccoli Tarot like is sort of known for this like very like eerie but like playful elements around, and like look at it. It's like she's floating in this like ocean or river of like lost memories, almost like things that sort of bring you joy as a kid, and like you're sort of being asked to like return to that space, because the Six of Swords talks about travel, and this in particular is giving me like mental travel, almost like memories and things like that. And a challenge could be like to access the beauty of this treasure island, to access the jewels of your past. You are required to go to the past. You are required to wade through what isn't the most comfortable to wade through. Like it could be that you purposely locked away certain parts of your past because you didn't really want to think about them, or because they made you uncomfortable, or because they brought you a certain amount of pain. But to find that which is authentic to you, you need to sort of access and open out that part of yourself to find what brings you joy, what is an authentic expression of yourself. And that might be challenging because you're having to put yourself in an uncomfortable space on purpose, and that's difficult. Like we're wired to not put ourselves in pain, to move away from pain rather. But here it's almost like it's asking you, like, no, like, hang on, like, what's underneath the pain? To know what's underneath the pain, you need to stick with the pain for a little bit, right? But it's like a reminder. Also, like, look at all these colors, like, and just in general, like, the purples and the pinks of this card are matching the purples and the pinks here, and then we have the blue, and then we have the blue here as well. And especially look, like, she is in water and this turtle is in water, so it's like, it's right there, you know, like, don't worry, like, stick in the water just a little bit, you're gonna feel a little uncomfortable. um it's it's gonna take a little bit of effort, but you are gonna find the treasured island. You are gonna find it because it's there. It's there. Like, nothing can take that away from you. um like, that's a part of your home almost. Like, you know, we have like our physical homes, but we also, like, our body and our soul is a home, right, for us. um and your authentic expression is in that home. Okay, I remember I wrote this thing once, for myself, and it was about, like, how I had told myself, like, you know, when you have these moments, you're like, oh my god, I don't even know myself. Like, who am I? And usually that's associated with, like, a lot of shame. But for the first time in my life, I told myself, hey, I don't know myself. And it felt like an invitation, because it felt like an invitation into this home that I had not yet made my home. And, you know, like, it was almost like I was standing at this doorstep of this beautiful house, and I can't really see the inside of the house because it's not very well lit. But, you know, when you can sense that there's, like, this, like, comfortable furniture all around, and, like, warm cookies baking in there or something like that, like, there's a nice fragrance coming out of the house, and it feels safe, like, just intuitively. That's what this is feeling like, you know. You might not be ready to traverse the full depths of who you are, but that doesn't mean that you don't have it already, you know. That is part of your home. It's already there. You are standing at the threshold of yourself, and whether or not you choose to go inside does not change whether the inside exists, you know. That part of you is still there. It's just a matter of finding it. And to find it, the only thing you need to do is step inside and gain that courage. And it's okay to want to take time with that. But that's what, like, I think you were sort of put into this space of waiting, of reflection, because it's telling you, like, before you run off ahead into plans that you think you want to make and accomplish, really think a little, because maybe there's going to be something that wants you change those plans. And changing plans is much easier when you haven't put an earlier plan into action. Well, I mean, it's never too late. You should always know that it's never too late, but sometimes it's just easier, you know, to not have to break everything down. Like, it's saying a little, like, just some more time. Give me some time, give yourself some time. You're gonna find what you need, what you're looking for, and what your soul needs for its most authentic expression. So it's gonna be a challenge, but it's nothing you don't already have within you to conquer. It's nothing you don't already have within you to face. I honestly, like, my heart goes out to the people who are receiving this reading and who are resonating with everything I'm saying, because I understand what it's like to be in this place. And it's almost like a never ending process, almost, because you always have to, like, face new things about yourself, because you yourself are this limitless growing being, right? And it's difficult to, it takes effort, it's difficult, it's tiring, it's exhausting, but it's also extremely rewarding to put that work in to yourself, to put that service. The sixth house usually talks about, like, service to others, but this is really feeling like in service to the self, in service to the home of your soul, of your body, of your mind. I want to get, like, one last card and see, like, in the last reading, like before that one completely disappeared out of my phone and my laptop, um, I wanted to see something lovely, and that's exactly what I asked the cards. I was like, tell me something lovely. So tell me something lovely for this group right now. Tell me something lovely for these lovely people watching this reading. Okay. Whew. Wait, something overturned here. Oh, we have a bunch of cards here. We have the High Priestess, and we have Three of Wands. This came out in reverse. I don't typically like put the cards in reverse because I like to see the imagery, but the meaning comes out whichever way it wants to come out. So okay, so we have the High Priestess and we have the Three of Wands. One second, I just want to look at this card right here. This says, this bird is holding like this book that says Projects of Virtue. Maybe that's something significant to you guys. Are you guys like working on something that has to do with morality, ethics, philosophy? Maybe you're a project manager. But yeah, like in terms of like something lovely, I really I like this. I really like this actually. Okay, so what I'm seeing here, so remember we talked about the threshold? To me, that particular word is connected to the High Priestess because the High Priestess sits at this threshold of inner knowledge, right? Like if you know in the Rider-Waite system, you have the High Priestess and she's sitting between like two pillars, one black, one white. And to me, there's always like this threshold, and we talked about you being at this threshold to who you are, and that's exactly what the High Priestess is standing for, this sort of threshold towards like inner wisdom, this inner consciousness. And that with the Three of Wands, especially, like the Three of Wands talks about like expanding, and like if you look at even this like imagery, right, we have like these flowers growing out of these skulls. It's almost like exactly mimicking this, like we have like this place of like death and decay, and even like in this card, like she's going over this river in like a coffin. So we have this place of death and decay, and things that are uncomfortable and painful and filled with perhaps with even grief, and from that is being born new life. From that is coming a flower, these several flowers, and with that is even coming wisdom. Like with this book here, we have like two books sort of being spoken about, like being pictured here, the book in this bird's beak and the book of the High Priestess. And I feel like you might be scared to start this journey, but with time you're gonna become the High Priestess. It's gonna become your domain, because you are somebody who is sort of wired, like I think you have this like innate capability of really contending with that which is uncomfortable and contending with that which might scare people. And I think once you take that first step, everything else will sort of unfold for you. And these powers that you have, this strong intuition, this connection you have with that which other people run away from, that's this skill, this talent, this ability that you possess. And it's gonna come to light. It's gonna like I'm almost like hearing like this alchemical shaman, almost like a mystic, somebody who can really like tune themselves to have very focused attention and connect with worlds that other people typically don't see, and even traversing your own like subconscious or unconscious self and discovering the wisdom that lies there. That is a process that requires a lot of fine-tuning. It's a process that requires hard work, because to be able to shine a light on things that are kept in the dark with nothing but your own mind, with nothing but your own consciousness, that takes effort, that takes a certain skill. A lot of people spend years like mastering some sort of skill like this, which allows them to even face their own past. But for you, I feel like it's coming naturally. And I think like it almost feels like this sort of byproduct of this entire process. Like suppose like what you like the example of being like an artist. So when you were a kid, and how you had to like leave art as you grew up. So in this process of trying to uncover the parts of you that really like to make art, that really like to paint or sing or do whatever, you're gonna fall in love with that process. You're gonna fall in love with the process of going back. You're gonna fall in love with the process of uncovering wisdom, of uncovering treasure. And then that that interest in making art and that painting is just like a sort of uh, a first step, like a medium through which you can discover what your true calling sort of is. And that could be this entire process. People don't put like a lot of people don't give a lot of attention to this kind of work that is so personal, that is so catered towards like self-actualization or even like community work. Like they don't give it its due. Just because something isn't getting you money doesn't mean it has no worth. Honestly, like putting work into discovering yourself and putting work into really like bringing everything from the past to light and bringing all the darkness to light. And hang on here, what I'm saying is not that you have to eradicate the darkness, but rather you have to traverse the darkness to sort of familiarize yourself with it. So shining a light in the darkness here doesn't mean that you're eradicating the darkness, but rather the shining a light part is a metaphor. I probably should have used a better metaphor, but basically it's about knowing what is in the darkness and really like fully accepting that. I think you are the people honestly like who are watching this. I think you are inherently and innately very intuitive people, and you have a lot of power. Like you just need to sort of take this first step. And it's almost like it's remember I talked about like literally standing at the threshold of the home. I forgot that the fourth house is about the home, and it's like a window, right? And it's like you're entering the house, and then you're wading through these waters of that which is painful to find that which brought you joy. And then over time you're realizing that the thing that you're really talented at is this traveling. The exact thing which is a challenge to you is that which you are very inherently powerful at. It's just a matter of discovering it. It's just a matter of uncovering it. And I feel very like in awe right now when I see these cards together. Yeah, you guys are so strong. I don't think you, like, even if you already know that you're strong people, I don't think you know how strong you actually are, because you're so much stronger than you think you are. And oh my god, this is really great. I am hearing though, like, almost like a word of caution. Like, even when you get really good at something, don't let it get to your head. You have to sort of stay grounded. You have to always remember where the flowers are coming from, and the flowers are coming from the earth. The flowers are coming from even pain, death, decay, grief. And you should always sort of pay your respects to where things are coming from. It doesn't mean to get entangled with them, or to get attached, or to get even depressed by your roots, but to just honor them and to pay your respects. you are really going to be uncovering a whole lot of happiness. And it's almost like you don't know what is the byproduct of what here. Like, is discovering a childhood passion the byproduct of discovering your talent at being this intuitive, like this intuitive mystical person that journeys between the present and the past? Or is this ability to be mystical and intuitive a byproduct of finding something that made you really passionate as a child? I think that's another reason why I'm sort of seeing this like need for humility. Like, both are equally important and neither could exist without the other. And to honor all parts of yourself that way. That's why it's like honor, yeah, honor everything. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing, and that's the note I sort of want to end it on. Um, Thank you so much for watching this. Um, it's been great to read for you. Thank you so much for letting me read for you. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.